I have to say that I am deeply disappointed with this hearing today. We could be having a serious discussion about the need to reform Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, but instead Republicans have chosen to focus on so-called Big Tech Censorship. This hearing is nothing more than red meat for the extreme conservative press, who will certainly eat it up. They'll share it on social media where studies show conservative voices are dominant. The voices of the Republican witnesses have been far from silence. They're incredibly popular on big tech platforms. They're featured in countless videos on YouTube and TikTok. They have books for sale on Amazon, websites, and email newsletters with paid subscribers. They're guests on popular podcasts and regularly appear on right-wing cable and streaming channels. Say what you want about them, but they certainly aren't censored. The Republican witnesses have engaged in pseudoscience to minimize the worsening climate crisis and seed dangerous ideas about COVID-19 and vaccines. One bankrolls another social media personality that he's calling heroic for spewing vile anti-LGBTQ hate, resulting in harassment, threats of violence, and intimidation across the country. And like the big tech platforms themselves, I'm sure they profit handsomely from the controversy. Now, that's not to say there isn't real censorship happening across the country, but it's not the Democrats or the tech platforms that are responsible, it's the Republicans. In fact, the Republican Party is responsible for some of the most egregious First Amendment violations and censorship that we've witnessed in years. Republican-led states across the nation have considered bills that promote censorship and threaten free speech, giving a vocal minority the power to impose their extreme beliefs on everyone else in their community. They've banned books about African American history, suppressed information about safe abortions, and demanded teachers don't say gay. Now that's real censorship in my opinion. What Republicans are trying to do here today is to force private companies to carry content that is misinformation or disinformation, dangerous or harmful. Companies have been moderating content since the beginning of the internet, and research has repeatedly refuted Republican claims of an anti-conservative bias in that moderation. As I said, it's disappointing that we could not have had a serious discussion about Section 230 reform. We all seem to agree there's harmful content on these platforms that should be taken down. Last week at the TikTok hearing, we were deeply troubled when we saw an implied threat against the committee with the imagery of a gun. We also saw examples of disturbing videos glorifying suicide and eating disorders, dangerous challenges leading to death, merciless bullying and harassment, graphic violence, and drug sales. And this terrible content is harmful to all of us, but particularly our kids. There's no doubt that Republicans and Democrats want social media platforms to better protect users from harmful content. We want to hold platforms accountable and bring about more transparency about how algorithms and content moderation processes work. And of course, the details matter tremendously here. And that is why our inability to have a serious conversation today is so frustrating to me. Every day we allow courts to interpret Section 230 to indiscriminately shield platforms from liability for real-world harm. Every day like that is a day that further endangers our young people, our democracy, and our society as a whole. Now, Democrats today are going to try to have a productive conversation about these issues with our expert witnesses, but it's a shame that, in my opinion, our colleagues on the other side of the aisle are not going to join us in this endeavor. And with that, I yield back.